What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Shout out to everybody that was tuned in for the live stream on the Q show last night. I got a full night's sleep. Absolutely. 100%. One of the benefits of working for yourself is you can kind of move your schedule around, make sure that you can get a full night's sleep and all of that other stuff. I mean, you work harder, you grind harder. I think that the rewards are more on both sides because sometimes you don't make no money and then other times you make a whole lot of money. Let me say this. Yesterday I had like this epiphany and some of y'all gonna see it in the vlog that I dropped tonight because I usually drop the vlog somewhere around 7 p.m. Eastern or something like that. Yesterday I had this epiphany where I was just like, I got this battery in my back. I'm super motivated. It's like, and you're going to see why. You're going to see why. I had the whole Pistons court to myself yesterday. They let me kind of run around in the arena and do what I wanted to do. And then, obviously I had to make a decision. And so y'all going to see what my decision is on what seats that I picked, if I picked any seats, how much they cost, 100% transparent. And I know that there's some people that's bothered by the fact that they get to see my lifestyle. You get an inside peek of it. And it's much more expensive. It's much more awesome. It's much more glorious and glamorous and full of life and things that I do on a daily basis and the money that I spend and the cars that I have and all of that stuff. So you get an inside look at it. And I kind of was talking about how more men are feminine than ever before, considering that it's so many guys that be dusty, but then they be feeling some type of way when they see you win. And instead of looking at it as motivation, they look at it as a problem or as an issue or something like that. But I had this epiphany yesterday as I was running around inside of the Pistons arena, inside of Little Caesars Arena, and I just wanted more. I was just like, you know what? It's more to life. It's got to be more than life, than the cars and all of this stuff. And I just want more. And I made up in my mind that within the next 3.5, 4 years, I want to buy a plane. I want to buy a plane. Yes, I want to buy a plane and I want to completely eliminate having to travel commercially. Now, this is not something that I need. This is not something that is required. This is not something that, I absolutely have to have or anything like that. But this is something that is a dream of mine. And I think that in order to motivate ourselves, we have to look at where we're at and then we have to put that carrot in front of our face. And that's the thing that's going to motivate you. That's the thing that's going to push you. That's the thing that's going to drive you. That's the thing that ultimately gets you to the point where you get to explore what your true potential is. When we were growing up, man, and when we were raised in the hood, we didn't know nothing outside of Cedar Point. We wasn't thinking about no Florida. We wasn't thinking about nothing like that. We thought that Florida and all of the places in Florida was just a retirement home. We thought that that's what people did when they retired in order to change the seasons and then they came back up, during the summertime. That's all we knew Florida for being. We never thought about traveling outside of Michigan. We never really thought about traveling outside of our hood. We know that we can go to Cedar Point. When my father took me back to the place that he was born in, down in Dawson, Georgia, I was like, send me back to Michigan, because all of these houses are stick houses. They standing up on stilts. It's a bunch of lizards walking around. Y'all out here gardening and stuff like that. And it's muggy. I was like, man, I ain't trying to be out here. Went back to Michigan. You know, we wanted a Cadillac or a Lincoln. We wanted a Stankin' Lincoln or a Lack. And then you had dreams of putting some Daytons on your Caprice Classic or your Buick Regal or your Monte Carlo SS. Get you a couple chicks here and there. Get a job in a plant, some A-plan papers, and you good to go. You good. That's all we wanted. And then it blew my mind when my father sent me to private school for 2 years, even though we were still in the hood, and he sent us to private school for a couple years, because I was like, wait a minute. wait a minute. You telling me that people they chilling over here and they talking about portfolio? What is a portfolio? He said his daddy is putting them together a portfolio. And then I went to a party out in the suburbs and stuff like that. And this chick, she had like a little party, because UAD guys, UAD Jesuit guys, often at times was always interested in the Mercy girls. So UAD was an all-boys school. The Mercy part was an all-girls school. And, you know, I went to my first party, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, her parents was out of town. She was staying with her aunt, who was super young, and it was a white girl. And it was the biggest house I had ever seen in my entire life. It was the biggest house I had ever seen in my entire life. Room after room after room after room. And I was like, this is crazy. And then that's when the wheels start turning. I was like, wait a minute. You telling me that I don't have to label myself as a black-owned business? You telling me I ain't got to only own a laundromat? You telling me that I can do more than play basketball? You telling me that we can do more than play football? Hold on. You telling me that your daddy ain't never picked up a microphone in his life to rap a lyric or sing some country music, and he living in here? Wait. You telling me that Dan Gilbert, for example, shout out to Dan Gilbert over at Quicken Loans, one of the people that is doing some of the greatest things inside of the city of Detroit. You telling me that Dan Gilbert is richer than all of the players that he bought the team from the Cavaliers? And he only like 5'1", 5'2"? Wait. You telling me that Matt Ishba did some of the same things that Dan Gilbert is? Now, Dan Gilbert owned the Cleveland Cavaliers and Quicken Loans. Wait, Matt Ishba owns the Phoenix Suns. He's building the biggest house in Michigan over in Bloomfield Hills. And he ain't never really cared about doing those sports. And he hiring all of his former classmates from Michigan State University to work for him over there at United Warehouse Mortgage. I gotta figure it out. It's gotta be some money in here for me. Ain't no way in the world you can tell me that we have to limit ourselves. And for the people in the chat, I know that Rocket Mortgage, yes, Quicken Loans is owned by Rocket Mortgage, 100%. For the people in the chat, now I know we play around with each other, and I know we go back and forth, and we always talking about, oh man, Anton is this, or I go back at the liberals, and the liberals come back at the Republicans, right? And the liberals come at the conservatives, and the conservatives go at the Democrats, and all of that stuff. And we go back and forth. And I know it's a lot of self-hate that's in the black community, and that sometimes that even shows itself inside of my chat. I know that we sit here and we talk about, you know, who bald-headed and who got hair, who against who and who got what relationship ain't working, and what's going over there with Khloe Kardashian or something like that, right? I know we get distracted by Kanye West's latest rants. I know we sitting here talking about whether or not Omarion wear an A cup or a B cup on a Millennium Tour. But what I'm telling you is that all of that stuff is a distraction from what's really happening. And what we really need to do is put away all of the BS. And I'm not talking about just the black community. I'm talking about people that are aligned and going in the direction that we're going in. We need to put away all of the BS You coming at me and you mad at me because I got the microphone and you feeling some type of way. But what I'm telling you is that ain't gonna get you no richer. And it ain't gonna get me no richer by sitting here arguing back and forth with you in the chat. It's entertaining, it's fun. I always like to include the chat. But when we gonna grow up and stop having dumb conversations? Dumb conversations is fun. It's entertaining. But that needs to be the 10% of what we talk about. And why are we not focusing on the other 90%? The reason that I love the bag chasers, the reason that I love the Patreon is because we get straight to the money. We get straight to what it is, the receipts, how it is that we can share information. We got the Discord that leapfrog off of the Patreon. That link is in the Discord. Is attached to any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. And we can get straight to the money. We so focused on the dumb stuff. Y'all so focused on whether or not you like me or you hate me. Is the information useful so that you can then leverage it so you can make your family better and you don't have to worry about student loans for your son or your daughter? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Because when I was sitting there and looking at this dude that was wearing Florshams, I wasn't worried about whether or not his shoes was shiny or not. I was trying to figure out how he got to where he got to where it didn't matter whether or not he wore Florshams around his circle and his group. We so used to tearing each other down and sitting here whining and complaining about the stuff that don't matter. It's people that subscribe to me that jump into my chat every single morning, and the highlight of their day is if I can call out their name and say, hey, man, you a little dusty. Oh, let me hold you accountable. And I do it because it's a part of the show and it's entertaining. But my question is, at what point do you, because I'm already there mentally. If I say, yo, I want to buy a jet, you know how small-minded you have to be to say, man, you ain't going to get no jet. You know how small-minded we have to be, how petty and stupid and ignorant that we have to be inside of the community. Instead of saying, well, if you get a jet, then I can get a jet, and you tell me the information so that I can leverage it and also be able to capitalize off of it. You know how small-minded you have to be mad at somebody else's dreams and what they aspire to be, especially if they're doing it legally and doing it the right way? You know how dumb we have to be and how ignorant and stupid and how much of a crabs in the barrel mentality? Let me tell you something. Whether you Democrat, Republican, independent, liberal, or conservative, me helping you get a bag so that you can take care of your family does not hurt me. And if you tell me that you got a dream to do something great, and it could be a small dream, you could want to pay off all of your debt, you could want to own your house outright, you could want to take care of your mother, you could want to get married or whatever. If it's good and it's wholesome for you, why would I stop you? Why would I hate you? Why would I pray against you? Why would I put out any negative energy towards you when you're trying to do something productive for your daughter, your son, your family? You're trying to leave a legacy. Why are we so small-minded when it comes to the things that are good and fruitful? We can argue about politics. We can debate about whether or not you like this politician. We can sit here and go back and forth about whether or not it makes sense for you to buy this car or that car. But when it comes to things of productivity, how come we can't be objective enough to put our differences aside and say, you know what, but when you help this person, it benefits me in this way. And how can I leverage that? Or when I see good information, how can I benefit from that? Because make no mistake about it, I could absolutely disagree with what you say, but I can 100% leverage what it is that you did to get to where you got to. I don't care for Magic Johnson, but for me to sit here and say whether or not he raised his son the way that he raised his son and have that conversation versus whether or not he has great business acumen, I have to be able to separate the two. And I can praise you in one thing and absolutely disregard or not like you in this other thing, but I need to be able to get that information so that I can be successful. No way in the world that I'm going to sit here and remove myself from being able to leverage the information of how he got super rich versus being mad at the fact that he raised his son a certain way. Two things can be true at the same time, and we need to learn how to multitask. We have to learn how to multitask. Y'all so busy being bitter and evil about something that you cut off your nose to spite your face. It's not productive. It doesn't benefit you. It's not going to add no value into your life. And I'm telling you, you can hold somebody accountable while at the same time acknowledging their greatness and the thing that they're great at. You 100% can. And we so small-minded. We think that only thing that we can do is look at one thing one way, and that's the only way that it got to be. No, you can use two. Two things can be true at the same time. Three things can be true at the same time. Four things can be true at the same time. 100%. 100%. Oh, I don't like him, so I'm not going to watch him. Your loss? Man, my girl is mad that you said this. So what? Who agrees with 100% of everything that everybody says? Name me one person that you know in your life you agree with 100% of what they say. Is the information useful? Is the information useful? Are you more worried about the vessel than you are about the message and the information that's going to change your life? I don't have time to hate on anybody that is being productive and great at what they do because that serves me none. It serves me none. We got to elevate. We got to elevate. We got to grow. We have to grow. If you don't think that I have friends that are liberal, and they may think differently than me, but when we get together and we do business, because it's not like they're doing nothing illegal. So what? You voted for Kamala Harris, and I voted for Trump. I lost in the 2020 election. Regardless of whether or not we want to paint it a certain type of way, I lost. Guess what? I still had to live life and get on. I didn't curl up and die. I didn't do nothing. I didn't cut off all of my friend groups. I didn't do none of that stuff. We figured out how to get to the money and how to leverage the information or what was happening during that particular 4 years so that we can get richer. And guess what? We're going to figure out how to get richer regardless if it's a conservative in office or if it's a liberal in office. But I begot, don't get me to cuss, and I know that this is a family show because I ain't going to cuss, but I begot dog if I'm sitting here waiting on somebody else to validate me and then cut off my own blessings because I don't necessarily like who won the election. So wait a minute, you telling me that you're not going to invest or you're not going to get this money, you're not going to leverage the information, you're not going to run up a bag because you feeling some type of way? Are you stupid or are you dumb? Are you stupid or are you dumb? I believe in chasing the bag in all seasons. In all seasons. Absolutely, I'm going to chase the bag in all seasons. 100%. We got to start figuring out how we can be objective enough and put our differences aside when it means the most, when it matters the most. Don't get caught up in this nonsense. Don't be so distracted while everybody is getting all to the money and you distracted by whether or not Big U or Yella Beezy and them. I mean, we do the story because we want to make sure that we address what's happening in the culture, but let's spend the rest of our 98, 99% of the time on the things that's going to get us rich. Because me having a conversation extensively about that ain't putting no money in my pocket don't help me. It don't put my daughter through college at all. We have to be intentional. We have to be smart. We have to go about doing things the right way. So you can be bitter. You can be angry, but be bitter and angry and get money at the same time. All Anton do is talk about money. What we gonna talk about? What you want to talk about? All Anton do is talk about money. What we here for? If we not here to get to the bag, what we doing? We twiddling our thumbs. We making each other look good. We having a good time, that's why I don't get involved in these pro-black conversations or this because they just talking. After you get done with your community meeting and you get done riling everybody up, then what? That's why I don't get caught up in all of these church conversations and going in there, because after you get done with your community meeting and you get done riling everybody up, now you still got to go home. What is the actionable steps that allow for you to be able to change the dynamics of your family? If we don't get to something that actually benefits you, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to get into a meeting. Let's put the medicine inside of the candy, and if there's nothing fruitful that come out of it, and the only thing that we did was say, hey, praise God, or hey, let's pass the collection plate, or hey, we don't like white people, FBA, this and that, and this and that. Okay, what did that do to change your life? Because all it did was make you angry and you still broke at the end of the day. If I can't empower you to help yourself to put some more money in your pocket and the only thing that you're doing is just riling everybody up, what benefits do it have that come along with it? Because I'm not going to no meeting just to go to no meeting. I don't even like meetings in corporate America. I'll be like, what's this meeting about? Decline. If we just talking, miss me with that. Miss me with the nonsense. I'm not about to sit here and talk to y'all for the next 50 years about reparations. I'm about to go and get this money. You waiting on somebody to give you something? It's a jet out there waiting for me, and they ain't stopped making them. Airbus is still creating jets. Gulfstream is still making jets. Somebody buying them. What he doing? Because, see, while you mad at rich people, eat the rich. They be like, They daughters be living good. It be people on TikTok talking about my budget this month to club was $78,000 showing their receipts. They not getting eaten. The rich is not getting ate up. I tell you this right now. You stood out there and protested. They increased their net worth while you was out there burning down your own neighborhood. They not getting ate. They doing good. They doing better than ever. 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then 25. At the end of the day, they all got richer. When you was out there talking about it and protesting, they was out here getting richer. Okay, wait a minute. All right, so we doing something wrong. What we doing? We gonna sit here and still talk? Wait, y'all still protesting? Didn't y'all protest in 2008 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12? You was outside with your sign, and 15 and 16, and you was protesting against Chevy, and then you protested against Tesla, and everybody still was rich at the end of the day. Wait a minute. You know what? This ain't working. This ain't working. Where the money at? They still make Gulfstream ain't went out of business. They still selling jets. That means somebody buying them. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's go ahead and get these super chats out of the way and these cash apps so that we can add value into your life. I got a full show that's planned for y'all. Shout out to Sharon Moss. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you on Cash App. And then my dog, Mike, that dude, I appreciate both of y'all. Protesting. Y'all still out there marching? Shout out to my girl, Jerry. We appreciate you. Jerry says, good morning, AD in the chat. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, Jerry. Eric Wealth Harris says, we didn't get Jazz, so Island Q gave us Trigger last night. It was a hard watch. Shout out to my dog, James. James Luke Devine says, hi, Devine from the Bag Chaser, Mrs. Daniels. Did you listen to the latest Diary of a CEO podcast featuring Gary Stevenson and Danielle Priestley? It's a great discussion to go over. I'd love to have you on Diary of a CEO one day. Yeah, we can talk about it. Absolutely. Let's kick it. Send me an email, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com, and I'm going to have my people set it up with your people, and let's get it popping. Somebody asked me a question. They said, Anton, how much do you charge to go on somebody's platform? Charge? Let's get this discussion on. Leslie Warren, what up, though, Leslie? I appreciate you. Leslie says, eat the meat and spit out the bones equal knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, let's get it. 392Q says, that's why I hate when people say it's not what was said, but how it was said. Y'all putting somebody's tone over the message is dusty and sassy. Everybody in their feminine energy. Young Reckless says, Anton, as a childless 30-year-old man, I've decided not to get married. I believe you and your wife is the last generation to value marriage. My Jen Doom and many Suki Aries. Nah, yours is out there, fam. Don't say never. Just be open to it and focus on working on doing what's best for you. Never say never. All right? You just got to meet the person that's supposed to be in your space. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to subject yourself to any of these people. It's somebody that's out there that really is going to add value into your life. All right, y'all, let's get it popping. First things first, I want to tap into this right now. ICE is arresting hundreds of people inside of sanctuary cities. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Major news coming out of a major city after promising to bring safety back to Boston. Border czar Tom Homan is already seeing results. Homan announcing that 370 illegal immigrants were recently arrested, with a majority of them being, quote, significant criminals with charges including murder, drug trafficking, and child sex crimes. Homan writing in a lengthy X post, I made a promise at CPAC that I was going to Boston after reading about numerous illegal alien Child rapists walking the streets of Boston and Massachusetts. ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. They would rather release these animals back into their community rather than honor ICE detainers or notify ICE when they are scheduled to be released. Mayor Wu later testified that I was lying. Thomas Hodgson is the former sheriff of Bristol County, Massachusetts, and he joins me now. Sheriff, good morning to you. What is it like being a sheriff, a former sheriff, in a state that allows this to happen?
Well, good morning, Carly, and thank you for having me. It makes it more difficult, obviously. In my case, I'm a Republican who served 25 and a half years, and I had an immigration detention facility for that entire 25, was housing for them for an entire 25 and a half years. I built a facility and had one of the largest in the country with regards to holding detainees at about an average of 225 a day. But that didn't mean that I wasn't going to be getting a lot of flack, which I did, from the dominant Democrat legislature, the current governor, and the former governor as well, Deval Patrick, trying to undermine my abilities to keep my community safe and uphold my oath. It's particularly difficult for any sheriff in Massachusetts that wants to do that, although I'll give credit to the Plymouth County sheriff, who is now housing detainees.
He's well spoken
and doing a good job with it. He's full speed ahead.
Yeah, well, so some people are trying to find workarounds to this.
Have y'all ever seen, like, been on the ground of some of these sanctuary cities? It's bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It makes you question, or it makes you think, yo, what is the legislators doing in those cities? Why are they against the people? You know, like, it would make me cringe to release any person that is a rapist, or any person that is a former rapist, or any person that has committed a crime or something egregious against somebody, because having them out on the street basically makes somebody else prey, because those are predators. Those are literally predators. A person that steals, a person that takes advantage of the least vulnerable amongst us. You would think that Democrats would meet you halfway. At least meet me halfway. Okay, so maybe you feeling some type of way about the illegal migrants that came over here and is not committing a crime. They won't even say, you know what? We're going to do what Eric Adams did, and we're going to make sure that we, at least if we arrest somebody that's doing something that's not what they supposed to do, and they're perpetuating a crime against somebody else or something like that, then absolutely we're going to work with the federal government and call ICE. We're going to call immigration. We should call everybody. Everybody should be outraged at anything that happens against an American citizen by somebody that is not from here. That is not an unreasonable ask in any capacity. I don't care who you hate. I don't care who you hate. You should absolutely protect the people that's in your community. You would think that they would at least meet you halfway on that.
But to your point, just take a look at the people that the state of Massachusetts, the city of Boston, have allowed back onto the streets. A Guatemalan charged with 3 counts of aggravated child rape, released on $7,500 bail. Another.
How do you get out? How do you get out on $7,500 bail? I can't jaywalk without at some way catching a ticket and somehow. How do you get out on $7,500 bail with 3 counts of aggravated child rape? Another one that's not from here. Aggravated child rape of an age victim 9 or younger. $7,500 bail. And Honduran assault to rape mass armed robbery released. Is that $0 bail? Child rape within Worcester County, $500 bail each. You can panhandle that up.
Guatemalan charged with aggravated child rape of a victim age 9 or younger, released on $7,500 bail. A Honduran charged with assault to rape, masked armed robbery, released on his own recognizance, zero bail, and the list goes on and on.
Most Americans, they say, don't have $1,000 to be able to get out of a difficult situation or an emergency. Don't have $1,000. They getting released on $7,500 bail, zero bail, $500 bail each, $4,000 bail with the intent of distributing Fenty. Why would you let these people back on the streets? What, you thought that they was going to change their life? You thought that they was going to appear at court?
You know, Sheriff, I'm sure that even these criminals are thinking, wow, I'm getting off easy. I'm lucky here. Is there something that we're missing here as to why this is happening? What is your reaction to that list that I just read?
Well, that's exactly what Tom Homan's been talking about, and that's what all of us in law
Phil
enforcement.
Richardson, what is so political about this? What is political about not having illegal migrants that are committing crimes against children? Because you may not necessarily agree with my politics, right? Maybe you super liberal, maybe you like to take your son to the prom. I don't know. But what is political about the fact that this is something that we used to all agree on? Republicans, Democrats, they were all tough on illegal migrants being inside of our country, let alone the ones that are committing crimes against the most vulnerable amongst us. What is so political? Why is this a political issue? I'm curious, Phil. Why is this a political issue? Why is this not a human rights issue? Why is this not a safety issue? Why is this not an issue with regard to making sure that we keep illegal migrants outside of this country? Why is this a political issue at all? What's wrong with y'all? Tell me, Phil, why is this a political issue? Unapologetically black wants my attention today. I honestly believe that none of y'all was raised with fathers in your home. I believe that none of y'all was raised with fathers in your home. You can't be raised with fathers in your home and be like this. Impossible. I haven't even gotten to the political aspect of the game yet. I ain't even started talking about politics yet. We talking about child predators and people that's not supposed to be over here. You know what's so funny? Because, like, it's a guy, his name is unapologetically black, which means that he's probably a blackety black. And we all know what a blackety black is. A blackety black is somebody that hates anybody that's not blackety black. It could be another black, but they will not necessarily care about that black. All right? It could be white. It could be anybody. But you know what they do care for? Anything that people that is the opposite of them don't care for. So if we say, hey, man, listen, people are here illegally, even if it go against the thing that they believe in, they going to believe in it because you disagreed with them. So if I say, hey, man, that door is brown, they're going to say, I don't like that door no more. Hey, the sky is blue. I don't like that sky no more. Hey, man, hey, listen, we both need to get to work. We both got to catch the bus. Oh, man, we need to abolish public transportation altogether. Oh, okay, well, I agree with you. Nope. We don't need to abolish public transportation. We need more of it, and we got to have the rich people pay for it. This is the way that these angry liberals and these guys that haven't been raised with a strong father in their household, this is the way that they act. This is the way that they act. You could take a blackety black person that hates everything that's not black. They hate my white shirt right here. And you can say, hey, listen, we need to get rid of illegal migrants because it's affecting the black community. No, we need to keep them inside of our community because you hate them. And I don't like Trump.
Have understood, but not these politicians like Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, who frankly is more interested in her personal benefits than she is in her public service. Look, she was elected like the rest of us, took an oath to uphold the rule of law. And what they're doing is she's creating this cover for criminals to come here, illegal aliens to come here and know that they're going to have a less likely chance of being identified. And it isn't just about Boston's crime. What about all the neighboring communities? They're going to lay low in Boston because they're going to get the cover they need, but then they go to these neighboring communities and commit more crimes.
Yeah, that's a great point. It just doesn't stay in the city. It also spills out to other areas as well. So if you remember a couple weeks ago, Mayor Michelle Wu, she was up on Capitol Hill testifying about sanctuary cities. She was asked a very pointed question about illegal immigrant rapists and whether or not her city allows them back out onto the streets, and she denied it. Listen.
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Mayor Wu, yes or no?
No, rape is obviously
Then
horrible.
why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is not what's happening in Boston.
And yesterday, Governor Maura Healey.
Listen to Phil. Hey, Phil got an explanation for us. Let me share it with you guys. Phil says, I don't agree that people should be over here illegally. Okay, so we do agree that you broke the law if you come over here illegally. But I don't believe in due human eyes. What? Okay, we're going to ignore that part. And lying on the folks like all of them are criminals, and y'all act like they only came in through Biden. So wait a minute. You're not a criminal if you do something illegally against the United States of America. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Y'all get it? You get what I'm saying now? Like they will say anything, even if it spites or it goes against their own beliefs. Oh, I don't believe that people should be here illegally, but all of them ain't criminals. Well, wait a minute. So if you come over to somewhere illegally, you telling me that you didn't commit a crime? That's not a criminal activity? If you cross over, okay, go and cross over into Russia. Go cross over to North Korea. Go cross over to China. Go cross over to Japan. Go cross over into any other country and see what happens to you. I don't understand. I don't understand. But see, because they hate the fact that I disagree with their political stance, anything matters. What difference does it make who they came in under? If it's illegal, it needs to be eradicated. But this is one of those guys that say, I don't like the way you said it. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't like the way you said it. Yeah.
A statement saying Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state. So how do you respond to that?
Look, Governor Healey has been a long-standing advocate going back to the days of her being attorney general. She filed more lawsuits against Donald Trump than any other attorney general in the country. She was on the other side of the Mexican border when she was attorney general, saying that the United States was wrong for not allowing illegals to come into our country without going through the proper process. And this is a governor who has been a pro-woke, left-wing supporter of illegal immigrants. And you know what? The people of Massachusetts are getting fed up with it. And they're tired of her looking beyond their public safety, the safety of their communities, and saying, my political agenda is more important than you, the people that I swore I would protect. And that's the problem we have in Massachusetts.
Yeah, if your number one job is to protect people as an elected official, letting the people out that I just listed, child rapist on low or no bond, certainly does not fit that directive. Tom Homan is going to be on Fox and Friends this morning with more on the migrant crackdown.
Thanks.
Sheriff Hodgson, final words to you real quick.
Just quickly, that also has to do with liberal judges that we have in Massachusetts that sort of jump into this ideology.
Yeah, it's a topic of conversation very much on the minds of many right now, especially in the Trump administration. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
I agree with the fact that ICE is continuing to arrest the worst people, because it's almost like you gotta bring people along and you gotta force them to do the right thing. You may not like the fact that I'm making you stand up and read in front of the class, but if I didn't do that, then you wouldn't read at all. You may not like the fact that I'm forcing you to wash your clothes, but if I didn't do that, you'd be out there smelling like a POS in public. You may not like that I told you to brush your teeth, and it may make you angry. But guess what? When you smile, people is actually going to like you, and they're going to want to talk to you, and they may even get close to you because your breath don't smell like trash. This is the way that I look at liberals right now. This is the way that I look at liberal men. Liberal men take their sons to the prom. Liberal men take their sons to the prom. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Jack Covington III says, everyone says tax the rich until they become rich, then it ain't funny no more. Yeah, that laugh will go way out the door. The Gray Way is in the building, says, what's good, AD and the Chasers in the chat? I haven't been able to catch you live in a minute, but I do watch the replays. That's why we put timestamps in it. And the best part is being able to fast forward to any derailment segments. Just kidding. I love you, bro. Shout out to my dog, The Gray Way. I appreciate you, big dog. Pookie's friend Ray says, now I can't have migraine. Ants cut my grass. Migrants cut my grass and shovel cow manure for $5 an hour anymore because they messing up the game. We can't have slaves, legal slaves. Keep what you're doing. Keep doing what you do, big bro. Thank you. I appreciate you, Warren Wells. Mr. Lott says, I don't believe in having a job, but you should be able to go to a company and get paid to work. Sounds crazy, ain't it? FPSD says times are too easy. This woke stuff doesn't work during a real depression. Abundance Mindset says, Anton, what up, dog? Shout out to my Detroit brethren. YouTube ain't sending the notifications even though I clicked the notification bell. I'm sorry about that, big dog. What can we do to remedy it? What can we do to remedy it? I don't know what to do. Young Reckless. What's going on, Young Reckless says, are you okay? Number one, are you okay with a childless 40-year-old man marrying a 24-year-old woman who is childless, no baggage? Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's legal. What's wrong with it? I don't have a preference for it myself. I prefer women that are more or less my age, but yeah, 24 years old, 40 years old, I don't understand what the problem is. Plus, why are most baby mamas or older women against it and get mad? Well, why would I care about what they think? The only thing that matters is you doing whatever it is best for you. As long as you're doing it legal and reasonably, I don't understand what the problem is. So stop allowing women to be leaders. They have to be led by me. It's scripture. It's the reason the serpent approached Eve and not Adam, says Master Irrigation. Anton, were you a fan of George Foreman? Completely indifferent. I think that he had a great story. I watched a little bit of his movie, but completely indifferent. And rest in peace to George Foreman. Kenneth Brown is in the building, says deport Americans too. I'm not really sure what that means, Kenneth Brown, but I appreciate everybody for supporting the platform. All right? Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue on with the show. So, in addition to the fact that he's deporting all of these illegal migrants, especially the ones in sanctuary cities, Trump is revoking the legal status of close to 500,000 people. Check it out. Let's find out what's going on, right?
The latest.
First, we want to talk about what's happening in the appeals court as far as, that judge that was appointed by Obama that's requiring Trump to turn around planes in the middle of the sky. Let me give you all a little bit of an update on that, and we're going to go to revoking the legal status of up to 500,000 migrants.
On the legal battle over the Trump administration's deportation flights, a federal judge telling government lawyers that Nazis during World War II got better treatment than the hundreds of Venezuelans who were flown to an El Salvador prison. Our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, is at the White House with the latest. Terry, good morning.
Good morning. With the showdown between the president and the courts keeps intensifying, and it's reached the appeals court where the president's claim that he has the power to deport people without any due process got a fierce grilling. The fight over President Trump's order to deport hundreds of Venezuelans is now in the hands of the U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington, and one judge is pulling no punches.
Nazis got better treatment under the Alien Enemy Act. People weren't given notice. They weren't told where they were going. Those people on those planes on that Saturday had no opportunity to file habeas or any type of action to challenge the removal.
At issue is the deportation of hundreds of alleged gang members who were flown to a notorious prison in El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. a law last used during World War II when Germans, Japanese, and Italians were deported, and every deportee got a hearing to challenge the government's case. Judge Patricia Millett warning about the lack of due process now.
If the government says we don't have to give process for that, then y'all could have put me up on Saturday and thrown me on a plane, thinking I'm a member of Nicaragua, and giving me no chance to protest it and say somehow it's a violation of presidential war powers for me to say, excuse me, no, I'm not. I'd like a hearing.
Trump's border czar Tom Homan firing back.
Well, that's first of all, it's ridiculous. It's just another example of a radical judge saying something that's just disgusting. To compare anything to the Nazis, the Holocaust. We follow the law.
President Trump is targeting the courts, calling for the impeachment of Judge James Boasberg. He's the judge who verbally ordered the government to turn the planes carrying the Venezuelans around. They weren't. The administration has accused the men without providing evidence of being violent gang members. In the appeals court, Judge Justin Walker suggested Boasberg has overstepped his authority.
Can you, standing here, give us an example of a district court injunction that enjoined a national security operation partially overseas that survived appellate review?
Now, congressional Republicans are turning up the pressure, announcing hearings on Judge Boasberg next week, as the president, Elon Musk, and other allies call for the judge's impeachment and more scrutiny of the courts. And the pressure keeps ratcheting up. The Justice Department now telling Judge Boasberg that it will invoke the state secrets privilege, and that's designed to stop the judge's inquiry into what happened when those planes took off from the United States and ended up in El Salvador. And he wants to know whether his order was disobeyed. He's already said.
I think that some of these judges have too much power to tell them to turn around a plane in the middle of the air while they're flying with no regard or no understanding as to how that could affect the people on board or the pilots or even the migrants themselves is absolutely ignorant, in my personal opinion. But in addition to that, Trump is revoking the legal status of more than 500,000 migrants. Check it out.
The Trump administration is moving to revoke the legal status of hundreds of thousands of Latin American and Haitian migrants and will urge them to self-deport. That's according to a notice posted online by the federal government. This impacts 532,000 migrants. All entered the U.S. under a Biden-era sponsorship program called CHNV, which aimed to cut down on illegal immigration at the border by providing legal avenues.
Do you guys remember when I broke down the CHNV creation by the Biden administration that allowed for people to basically come over here illegally? And this is how they had over 20,000 migrants, illegal Haitian migrants, then up here in a place like Springfield, Ohio, where they only had 40,000 people originally, and then all of a sudden their population ballooned to 60,000 people. The CHNV program, right, which basically represented, and I forgot exactly what the cities was. I know it was Nicaraguans, Venezuela. I know that that's what the N and the V was. H was for Haitians, and I'm not sure exactly what the C was for because I don't have it right in front of me right now. But CHNV was a way for Biden to basically invoke or create legislation or some kind of executive power that allowed for them to basically fly illegal migrants over here and then dump them off in the cities randomly without any kind of insight, information, or feedback from the people that's inside of those cities. That's why we then had people that was over in Aurora. That's why we had people that was in Springfield. That's why you seen people over in these small towns, and then all of a sudden they had jobs, even though people didn't have any employment inside of those towns. Is it Cubans? It was Cubans. So Cubans, Haitians, Venezuelans, and Nicaragua, right? And I did a whole show breaking down exactly what it meant and why they were leveraging that to continue to fly and get people over here. And they were basically giving them free flights over into the United States of America and dumping them in small towns. And they were all over the United States of America. Well, Trump basically said, listen, you guys did not come in the way that you were supposed to. You did not take the normal legal avenue to then become U.S. citizens. We are revoking that. And just because Biden did it don't mean that we're not going to undo it. You do not have protection. I invite you guys to go and self-deport and then come in here the legal way. And if you do not self-deport, what's going to happen is if we catch you, you will not be able to come over here legally. You will not be able to seek citizenship. You will not be able to get a green card. You will be rejected at every turn, and we will find you. We will absolutely find you. So, if you have no idea what that is, you can go and look that up. CHNB. It was something that was created under the Biden administration that had no visibility from the people. Nobody talked about it. Nobody had a conversation about it. It was nothing that was ever spoke about, but it was something that Biden used to fly illegal migrants over into the United States of America.
The policy was paused by President Trump after he took office. The current administration says those who fail to self-deport will face arrest and removal by deportation agents. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us now in Washington for more. Camilo, explain to us what protections this program provides and why the Trump administration is revoking it.
Good evening, Lindsay. The more than 500,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who arrived into the U.S. under this Biden-era program all have legal status. They have work permits and deportation protections that typically last for 2 years. And the Biden administration admitted them into the country under the premise that it was offering them a legal alternative to come to the U.S. that would dissuade them and discourage them, Lindsay, from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally. But now the Trump administration...
Did you hear what he said? It was a way for him to get them over here so that they wouldn't have to cross over to the border illegally. So they were coming over here either way. They were coming over here either way. And either they were going to cross over to the border illegally or they can get that free flight from the Biden administration and then get dumped out of town that the Biden administration felt like was best for them. They were coming over either way. And so they basically used a loophole that allowed for him to say, you know what? Not only that, while you're on a plane, we're going to get you a work permit. We can possibly get you a driver's license and an ID, regardless of what your status is, regardless of where you came from, regardless of what your background and your history is. We are going to get you over here inside of the United States of America.
Is saying that this program was an abuse of the president's immigration authority, that it was plagued by fraud, and that it should be terminated. And in fact, in the next 30 days, that is indeed what the Department of Homeland Security will be doing. Not only will it be terminating the program officially, but it will also terminate the legal status of the more than 500,000 people who already arrived to the country under that policy. And they have 30 days starting tomorrow, Lindsay, to essentially pack their bags, voluntarily depart the country through a smartphone app system that the administration has set up for self-deportations,
CB1 Home app?
Or they will face removal and arrest by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, according to DHS.
Camilo, the U.S. has also launched new accusations against detained Colombia protest leader Mahmoud Khalil. What do we know?
Well, when this arrest initially happened, the government alleged that the reason it was detaining and seeking to deport Mr. Khalil was because the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, had invoked a rarely used law in the immigration code that allows the government to seek the deportation of non-citizens, including lawful permanent residents like Mr. Khalil, on the ground that their presence here in the U.S. and their activities here threaten the foreign policy interests of the country. But now the government is revealing that it has filed new civil immigration charges against Mr. Khalil. Not only are they arguing now, Lindsay, that he threatens the foreign policy interests of the country, but that he also orchestrated immigration fraud because they're saying he failed to disclose his involvement in work at the British Embassy in Beirut and the United Nations Refugee Agency for Palestinian Migrants and Refugees, and that he did not disclose that in his green card application. And so they are now accusing him of immigration fraud too, Lindsay, and saying that that is another ground to deport him from the country, rather.
Camilo, a new federal lawsuit says the Trump administration is looking to arrest and deport another Columbia University student involved in pro-Palestinian protests. What do we know?
A new lawsuit in federal court today says that ICE is seeking to detain and potentially deport a 21-year-old Columbia University student involved in pro-Palestinian protests, and that it has already visited her parents' residence, and that this woman is a 21-year-old native of South Korea who came to the U.S. when she was 7. She has lived here most of her life, Lindsay, and according to her lawyers, ICE is targeting her because of her involvement in protests and also citing the same law that is underpinning the arrest of Mr. Khalil. And so this is yet.
I wish that I was able to, actually I don't wish it because I don't plan on causing a disruption to a country that I'm not native in, right? You got a green card, which means that you was not born here. You got a green card, you thought that you could circumvent the law. And because you thought that you had a green card, for whatever reason, you thought that you had the same rights as a person that became a U.S. citizen, and you don't. You don't. Imagine going into a country that you're not native to, and you go over there and you don't like something that they're doing, and you start to hit the streets, you start to become destructive, you start to have camp-ins, you start to have sit-ins, you start to have protests in those streets. Have y'all ever actually been out the country? Usually when you go out the country, I mean, you can't even go to Turks and Caicos and mistakenly leave a piece of ammunition or bullet in your backpack. You will get 10 years in jail if they catch you at the airport or they scan your backpack and it mistakenly has a piece of ammunition in it. You will go to jail for 10 years in Turks and Caicos. Whenever you go outside of the country, you're usually like really, really vigilant on making sure that you obey the law. A lot of times when I go outside of the country, I don't even drive. You can get a car that you can rent. You can go and get a rental vehicle in most places. But when I go outside of the country, I don't even drive. Because I want to make sure that I understand every aspect of the law. I don't want to get caught up in doing nothing. I don't want to get pulled over. I don't want to talk to a police officer. I don't want to be around a place where I can ultimately possibly even remotely get arrested. And I'm very, very careful on what I say, who I say it to, and what I'm saying. When you go out the country, when you go to Dubai, you go to these places, you don't get out of line. You make an adjustment. You do what they do. You make sure you abide by the law. You understand their culture, and you adapt accordingly. You do not in any way, shape, or form get out of line when you go into a different country. And you don't bring your culture over there either. You adapt to their culture. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Manuel AG says, another liberal judge, T-Mac is in the building. He says, as a gang member of any American gang, you can be moved to whatever prison they deem necessary, even if it's in another state where you created crime. But these judges have more reserves for foreign criminals than you all. Son of the Sun says, if legal migrants don't snitch on illegals, they can go too. Well, Tom Holman says that if he catches you and you're basically harboring a criminal and you're an illegal yourself, you definitely can get deported. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's move on. So I want to talk about this because this was all of the rage and all of the news yesterday. And so I wasn't able to get up to speed and up to snuff with it. But Trump held a cabinet meeting where he basically was addressing, I heard, and the majority of the cabinet meeting was addressing a potential leak. After this, we're going to go over to Pete Hegseth and see what he had to say about it. But a potential leak of war plans from the United States of America. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's find out what happened.
Meeting overshadowed. The Trump cabinet gathers to enthusiastically discuss DOGE cuts. Yes, Elon Musk had a seat at the table. But it is the revelation that top national security officials within the Trump administration shared messages on Signal about Yemen war plans with a journalist mistakenly looking on that's gathering so much attention today. Also, deportation fight. New flights land in Venezuela as the legal battle continues with a federal judge over earlier flights to El Salvador. It all revolves around the administration's use of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act in its push to quickly deport alleged Venezuelan gang members, doing so without due process. Attorney General Pam Bondi says this case could and should go all the way to the Supreme Court.
This is an out-of-control judge, a federal judge trying to control our entire foreign policy, and he cannot do it.
Also, seeing red in Greenland, the prime minister of the Danish territory slams what he calls a, quote, highly aggressive, unquote, visit by U.S. officials. In that delegation, Second Lady Usha Vance and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. President Trump, as you well know, has repeatedly expressed interest in acquiring Greenland. We don't know exactly how. Anyway, we start tonight with Robert Costa and James Laporta. Robert, great to have you with us. Big cabinet meeting to extol DOGE cuts to the federal workforce and efficiencies with Elon Musk right there. And I say this all the time, this is not a stock market show, but the market up today, Tesla stock up today. That's all part of the context around this.
And you see Elon Musk continuing to gain traction inside of President Trump's administration. He is a confidant of the president, not just some special governmental advisor. And despite some of the cabinet members privately having their own grumbles about Musk's power, Musk is retaining that power.
James, I want to talk to you about this story that is, I think, justifiably rocking Washington today and all those in the national security intelligence community circle.
Right.
The Atlantic magazine, under Jeff Goldberg's byline, published a story saying that he was inadvertently included on what can only be described as a text chain on Signal, which is a non-secure commercial app. It has some security, some encryption, but it's commercial. It's not security. It's certainly not considered something by the U.S. government suitable for any unclassified and certainly not top secret or classified information. He was inadvertently included in a text chain of all these senior Trump administration national security officials before the raids began in Yemen, describing all of the policy implications thereof. Walk us through this crazy story.
You said it right. My phone has been blowing up all day from people who are active duty U.S. military and active in the U.S. intelligence community. It violates pretty much every protocol that they're taught to go into those roles. Yes. I mean, if you look at just unclassified information, not talking about secret or top secret information, unclassified information, the Defense Department specifically is barred from using third-party apps like Signal, like Telegram. They're not allowed to use even those apps to pass unclassified information. In fact, their memo says, quote, the misuse and mismanagement of mobile apps poses a cybersecurity and operation security risk. Now, that's just unclassified information. When you're talking about Yemen war plans, when you're talking about targets, Houthi targets, you're talking about secret and top secret information. So it really is mind-blowing to every military and intelligence community professional.
And James?
Yep, I agree 100%. And there's no way in the world, personally, I do not believe that this information was mistakenly sent. Maybe it was. I can be absolutely wrong. I'd love to hear what y'all thinking inside of the chat. I personally do not believe that it is mistakenly sent to a reporter. I don't. Absolutely. And they added to the text thread. Has anybody ever used Signal before? Has anybody ever used Signal? I have. I use Signal. As a matter of fact, I will tell you that Signal is my preferred method of communication when I have to send text messages. I don't really text on that other stuff. I don't really use iMessage. I don't use anything like that. I prefer to use Signal. I prefer to use Signal. It's much more secure platform and all of that stuff. On Signal, there are certain features that's not even available on iMessage or whatever it is that y'all use when it comes to the Android devices. One of the things on Signal, right? One of the things on Signal that you can do, because on iMessage, you can unsend a message, right? You can unsend a message if it's within a certain amount of time. On Signal, You can completely remove the message and undo the message altogether, and you can undo the message way after you send it. Way after you send it. Yes, Kristen, Signal is an application. I think that is much more secure, and I think that it's a better communication tool than, regular iMessage. I think that it's much more secure and all of that stuff. I like it a lot. I think that it's much better. I think that it's way more secure. Things that you send and unsend and all of that other stuff, you can determine whether or not somebody's seen it and not seen it and everything. Signal is a much better app, but they have features on there that you can basically remove people from if you don't want them to know the information. So we got a lot of questions. At what point did they realize that they sent it to a journalist? Did they ever realize that they sent it to the journalist? Did they mistakenly send it to the journalist? Who sent it to the journalist, and why was they included in the text thread or the message in the first place? Personally, right now, you always have to err on the side of caution. You always have to err on the side of caution. And Eric D., I agree with you. I think that it might be a situation where you could have to fire somebody, because anybody that is making that type of mistake or that type of issue or something like that and is that reckless with that type of information, I'm not sure you can keep them inside of the administration. If it's not a mole, if it's not a leak, then it's complete incompetence. And in my personal opinion, I think that it's a fireable offense.
In your experience, you know of situations in which junior grade...
We use, personally, I am the worst texter in the world. I give you that. Hold on, Fi Brown. You've been chilling. You done disappeared for a while because you've been out here hustling and getting it and all of this stuff. Hold on, Fi Brown. Hold on, big dog. Fi Brown only pop up once every 2 weeks, y'all. Once every 2 weeks. And one of the times that Fi Brown pops up is if we talk about Dame Dash. If you start talking about Dame Dash, Fi Brown be like, wait a minute. Wait, y'all talking about what? No, not Dame Dash. Man, Jay-Z should make sure Dame is taken care of, blah, 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 blah. Then all of a sudden he want to pop up. Anton is literally the worst texter in the world, literally ranked #1 in the Guinness books. It's not that I'm a bad texter, okay? Let me just say this. It's not that I'm a bad texter. I am a decent texter. I could become a great texter, but I don't like texting. Let me tell you something, bro. Listen, this is one of the reasons. You see what just happened? They just released all of the Yemen war plans. You know what text messages are to me? Text messages are... it's documentation. Text messages are bad. You can go on this app, especially with Apple Intelligence, and you can pull up text messages from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. You can pull up text threads and stuff that you thought was deleted. It is still in there. All text messages is information that you don't need to be having in people's phones. That's all it is. You don't need to know what I'm thinking. You don't need to know what I'm feeling. You don't need to know none of that. Come and kick it with me in person. I prefer. Look, Anton, you can always use what, man, that junk is evidence. That is information that don't need to be stored. You delete it from your phone. It's not deleted from the device that you sent it to. I'm not about to be texting people. First of all, I don't have the time. Secondly, I don't have the energy. And third, I don't have the interest. Yo, come see me. And you know what these new girls do? Let me tell you what the new girls do. Fellas, listen to me. It's getting worse out here. They not even just calling you. Bruh, it could be a business person that you give your information to. Y'all can exchange phone numbers, whatever. Or it could be somebody casual that you meet, you know what I'm saying? Oh, networking or whatever, y'all in the streets. Hey, all right, cool, here, take my information. You know what I'm saying? Man, people are FaceTiming you. There are people that I know, and I never answer the phone no more. Not after what happened on After Hours that last time. I said, no. These new cats, They want to talk. They want a video chat. They FaceTiming you. No, they not FaceTiming audio. They FaceTime video. Hey, what you doing? Everybody want to FaceTime. What you mean you? What? That's more evidence. No. Nope. Nope. I'm not interested. What you mean? We just gonna be talking? We just gonna be kicking it? Nah, dog. No, dog. Listen. All you gotta do is, hey, can I pull up? I'm gonna hit you with the thumbs up or the thumbs down. That's it. Or at what time you trying to come through? This time. Cool. One or two. If whatever we can't get through in one or two, that's it. Unless you airdropping me an Addy or something like that, I don't want to. Who was that texting my phone? I don't look at that. I ain't opening no messages. I ain't turning on read receipts. I'm not doing nothing. That's how you wind up texting war plans.
Either enlisted men or junior officers did something far less worse and got the book thrown.
They've been court-martialed for less. I know of a sailor who took pictures on a submarine, and those pictures he was trying to send to his family. He was reprimanded for that, and I believe was sent to court-martial. I know of another court-martial of a major who he sent a warning to Afghanistan, but he sent classified information over his Gmail account versus his SIPR account, his secret email account that he was supposed to use, and he was reprimanded. And I'm not sure if that went to court-martial, but again, lesser instances of what we're seeing here today.
Robert, I want to read to you a statement that came from the National Security Council, because if you read the story, which I urge everyone to do, Jeff Goldberg says for the longest time he thought this was some sort of either disinformation or entrapment, like this wasn't real, and they were trying to get him to say or communicate things that would be embarrassing to him as a reporter. NSC says this: at this time, the messages thread that was reported appears to be authentic, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain. That's a confession that happened. This is real. And what Jeff Goldberg saw, conversations between the vice president, national security advisor, secretary of state, and others, or their designees, was legit and visible through a reporter when it never should have been.
Why y'all so worried about what this man is looking like? Y'all should be more concerned about the information that he's given on this panel. Y'all should not be so concerned with what he looking like. Why he look like that? He know what a submarine looks like. Yeah, he had one too many. Y'all gotta. This is why you got to make sure that you tight, baby. You got to make sure that whatever it is that you do do offline is going to affect how you going, because people going to judge you. People will miss the message because they so focused on the fact that you looking dusty. It's the facts.
At this point, it's all up to President Trump in terms of how this is going to proceed, because Republicans control the House and control the Senate. There seems to be, at this moment, this early hour at least in this story, no sincere interest from Republicans on Capitol Hill to start mounting a formal investigation, though you have seen some exasperation in at least the initial flurry of comment from some Republicans. But if President Trump decides to drive this forward and perhaps dismiss somebody involved in this entire exchange, whether it's a staffer or even a principal, the story will have legs, and it could have legs as an investigation. But at this point, President Trump has so much executive power, and he seems to be, based on my latest round of calls, standing by those involved.
And Robert, from a purely political perspective, there was lots of dialogue during the 23 and 2024 years about classified documents, the handling thereof, the sensitivity around that. Lots of Republicans are on the record saying you got to be careful.
That's true. President Biden's records got scrutiny. Of course, President Trump's records got scrutiny and were under federal investigation.
But his defense was, I was president, and under the president.
He not wearing skinny jeans. The jeans get skinnier the more that you fill them out. They relax fit. All right, they relax fit. They not skinny jeans. And if you start like if you bend your knee while you sitting down, they gonna look skinnier because it's gonna be like, oh man, them jeans are so tight and they acid washed. You know what I'm saying? And they're a little jaded. The jeans, the jeans. Oh God. Oh, help us, Lord. God, help us to stay focused. Lord, bless my chat. Bless my chat to be focused, yo. Bless my chat. My chat, they ain't got it together. They not focused. They don't have it together. They so somebody said yoga pants. Oh my God. Y'all so ignorant. Them ain't jeggings and pajama jeans.
Presidential Records Act, I had a kind of immunity. That doesn't exist for any of these other people.
And this report by Jeff Goldberg in The Atlantic raises further questions about, is Signal, this encrypted messaging application, something that's used for other conversations within the administration that are not necessarily going to be documented? Presidential records, and you would guess those.
We can't even do no more of this segment. We got to go to the next segment because y'all so ignorant. No, it's your fault, Executive Suite MLE. This ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not going to let y'all put this on me because I didn't say nothing. This one is not on me. This is y'all. This is all the chat. This is what I need a new co-host. I'm going to get me a co-host for the Millionaire Morning Show, and I'm going to trade the chat in for a new co-host because y'all ain't nothing. Y'all so ignorant. Y'all so ignorant. Oh man, y'all are so ignorant. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats from y'all ignorant butts. Mr. Lot says you can't have too much pride abroad. Be humble. Act like radio if you facts. Act like radio. James says, Sergeant Divine, I am a National Guardsman in the Army Signal. Is in the Army, Signal was only used for simple communications. Cannot use it for unclassified information or plans. Doesn't matter if it's encrypted or not. This was intentional. Ah, okay. All right. Mr. Lot says, and they screenshot everything. That is why most of these ladies' phones low on memory. Yo, they be screenshotting? Y'all getting screenshotted with these little chicks? These little hussies? You can't trust them at all? Talk to them on vanish mode. Talk to them on vanish mode. All right. Hey, hit me up on Instagram. Soon as they hit you up, swipe up, put it in vanish mode, and minimize the amount of conversation that you have. Soon as they get here, get them that documentation. As soon as they get there, get them the documentation, DocuSign, consent agreement, and NDA. Consent agreement and NDA. I'm telling y'all. Listen, I'm trying to tell you what to do. Consent agreement, NDA. Any insinuation that they say your name, you go after them with everything that you got. Go after them with any insinuation. Go after them with everything that you got. Get that paperwork on them. And it's, hey, listen, okay, cool. And make sure you record them signing it because you don't want them to say that they signed it under duress. Trust me when I'm saying it. Executive Suite says, Anton ain't ish. Hold on, let me read that. Anton ain't ish. Anton ain't answering no text messages. I sent the text 2 years ago. I just checked. Family, if you not talking to me like this, yeah, man, because what's going on? Man, I'm not about to be talking to nobody. Pavia says, I'm not signing nothing. Well, you not coming in the building. That's all. We agree. We agree. I'm cool with that because if you say that you're not signing, then that just tells me that I don't need to be around you. What's Brian Windhorst doing up there? Yeah, Brian. Yeah, he did look like Brian Windhorst. Man, it's built like Professor Eggman. He wearing them cute Diddy jeans. LaFleur says, I won't be surprised if Big buy chasing a big bag. I see y'all. Mind your credit says, FaceTime isn't worse than mobile boost. Next cell phones just bust through the phone. Yo, where you at? Facts. So glad that that's over. That generation is over. Donation to the Trigger Wig Fund. That's my hair beast. Shout out to Eric D. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Links in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Pete Hegseth has something to say about it. Let's hear what he had to say about these leaked plans in the Signal app. Check it out.
And that is the plane of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who, from what we understand, just landed there in Hawaii on this multi-stop tour to Asia. They're stopping first in Hawaii. Hegseth will then go to Guam, and then he will go, I believe, to the Philippines and Japan. According to the Deputy Press Secretary there at the Pentagon, her name, Kingsley Wilson. So what we're all waiting for right now is whether or not Hegseth, there he is live, whether or not he will comment on the story in the Atlantic. Remember, he was leading the group message there in that Signal thread. Let's listen here.
Listen, if you don't want to sign the documentation, go home. If you don't want to sign, then go home. Y'all can miss me with that. Well, if you ain't got nothing to have, no, we not doing that. Them days is over. That's the same thing that women used to hit guys with when they used to make sure that they didn't sign a prenup. Well, if you don't plan on breaking up with me, then it ain't no reason for me to have to sign nothing. No, that's not how it works, baby. Listen, this is a preventative maintenance, and this protects you as well as protecting me. This helps me to understand exactly what you're doing, and you to understand exactly how important this is in the business that happens around me. And more importantly, I don't want people that's around me being talked about or being a conversation piece on the internet. You never gonna get me with that. Well, if I ain't planning up, no. That's not how it works. Standard procedure. It's not you, it's me. And the people that's at the door made sure that you did it. That's just a standard procedure. Anton did not do this. Anton is not asking for this. This is just something that the people around him is using in order to make sure that he's protected. Well, if you ain't doing nothing, that ain't why. Listen, either you're doing it or you're not. I'm not about to sit here and have no conversation with you.
I'll tell you something, this is a trip we've had circled on the calendar from the beginning. Indo-Pacific, shifting priorities to make sure we're deterring threats to the future. President Trump's been focused on that. Reestablishing the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and ultimately reestablishing deterrence is critically important. And so we're out here to talk to our commanders and, more importantly, meet with the troops all across the Indo-Pacific, and then our allies and partners, too, who are going to be a critical part of ensuring the future in this region is free. And so we're glad to be here. It's a beautiful day. Had a full work day on the plane. Now we've got a full work day here as well, and looking forward to it. One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in the Atlantic, and were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning, and you see We've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops are...
Now, all right. Now, one thing that I promised you guys a couple weeks ago is that I was going to be honest, I was going to be real, and I was going to be transparent, okay? I was going to be honest and I was going to be real. You know that I lean conservative with my views and my opinion, but I'm going to call a spade, and I'm going to have a conversation straight down the middle. What I personally see here is I see a sidestepping of the question. I see a little bit of word salad in there. I'm not really sure if this journalist, because I don't know who the journalist is that they're talking about. I can't say about their character or what they peddle or anything like that. But I'm going to just be honest with you. I see a little bit of Pete might be the culprit. Respectfully. I mean, come on. Listen. I have to just be honest, and I got to call a spade a spade. My views personally in life is conservative. My perspective on whether or not the Trump administration is doing a great job in his first 100 days in office is spectacular. But I have to be real, and I have to just be absolutely transparent, regardless of if I'm a conservative, regardless if I actually rock out with Trump and all of that. I promised y'all that I was going to be real. And the reality is that it seemed like a little bit of word salad in there. Respectfully, Pete. Now, this is my first time seeing this, and it doesn't mean that he's not great at his job, but Pete may be the one that mistakenly leaked the information about war plans. I'm just saying. Listen, we could be conservative and we could just call it down the middle, objectively. If I'm looking at this and I'm watching this conversation and I'm like, I wonder who the person is that may have mistakenly sent the war plans, or maybe they was a little too distracted, or maybe they was getting some box on a plane. Who knows? Pete is going to be the first person that I call into my office. Hey, Pete. Hey, they say some war plans got leaked on the Signal app. Let me see your phone. You got Signal on there? It's a little bit of sidestepping the question. That's my initial observation. I'm going to hear the rest of what he has to say because, again, I'm looking at this in real time, and then I'm going to try to figure out whether or not it's Pete or not. And I'm going to give y'all my honest-to-God opinion, regardless of what side of the aisle I stand on.
Our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through.
I said, is Mike Walls? All right, I'm going to check that out. I'm just saying, from what he's saying, it seems, and maybe he covering for somebody else, I have no idea. But it just seemed a little crazy the way that he talked, and he just kind of sidestepped that he didn't answer the question. All right?
And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at...
Somebody send me the article. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. Forward it to me in my email. And send me the report that Fox News said that it was Mike Walls.
In Yemen, President Trump said, no more.
Or Tim Walls.
We will reestablish deterrence. We will open...
But why would Tim Walls be on a text thread for war plans? That don't even make sense. I said it was Mike Walls. All right, I'm going to check it out.
Freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Mike Walls
added the shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all.
Pete, I apologize. Clearly, you're not the one that leaked it. I want to go into this. Okay, so who is Mike Walls, the National Security Advisor who added the journalist to the Signal group chat? All right, so it was him. So Pete was just protecting this guy. All right, so Pete, you even better now because you was holding it down for a real one and you didn't want to throw your homie under the bus. This is what I'm looking at, all right? So it's saying that journalists or national security advisor who added the journalist was Mike Walls. President Donald Trump has said he's confident that his national security advisor, Mike Walls, a day after a report detailed how he inadvertently added a journalist to the Signal group chat discussing Yemen war plans. Trump told NBC News on Tuesday that Walls has learned a lesson and is a good man. That's him? All right, you made one mistake. Let's not make another one, okay? I see my dog Pete Hegseth in the back. Pete is looking like, see, man, y'all got me out here looking crazy. All right, so I got to apologize, and I got to give Pete some grace. I have to give Pete some grace. Says the president brushed off concerns about the group chat on the messaging app, which reportedly included operational details about war plans in Yemen, and mistakenly included the Atlantic director, editor-in-chief, Jeff Goldberg, according to a report from Goldberg published Monday. Trump told NBC News that Goldberg's presence in the chat had no impact at all and called the whole ordeal only a glitch his administration has faced since Inauguration Day. Goldberg has received a Signal invitation from Waltz, who was a member of the group chat. Goldberg said that the group chat also appeared to include Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, amongst others. Imagine getting invited into a group chat with those people. White House National Security Council spokesman Brian Hughes told ABC News on Monday that the group chat appears to be authentic. Trump tapped Walls, a former Florida congressman, to be his national security advisor in November, calling him a nationally recognized leader in national security and an expert on threats posed by China, Russia, and Iran, and global terrorism. Waltz is a China hawk and was the first Green Beret elected to Congress. During the presidential campaign, Waltz proved to be a key surrogate for Trump, criticizing the Biden-Harris foreign policy record. Elected to the House in 2018, he sat on the Intelligence and Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committee. He also serves on the House China Task Force with 13 other Republicans before running for elected office. Waltz served in various national security policy roles in the George W. Bush administration. In the Pentagon and the White House, he retired as a colonel after serving 27 years in the Army and the National Guard. Okay, so he's not a bad dude. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again, because you got my dog Pete out here looking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I have to say about that.
Right,
Thank you.
That's it.
The NSC said it was authentic.
And there you have it. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth just landed there at Joint.
All right, so that was Pete Hegseth. He remained loyal. He said, we're going to hold it down. Again, I think that it was incompetence, maybe whatever. I don't know. I don't know how Trump determined whether or not the dude did what he was supposed to do or not. But just don't let it happen again. Okay, Mike? All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. My dog, Casual Germ, says, me and a chick fell out bad. She deleted all of her flirty text messages and removed her heart eyes emoji on my replies. How do I know? My Samsung S22 notified me what she was doing. She was trying to accuse me of harassment. Hey, man, get the heck up out of there, bro. Get the heck up out of there. That's crazy. Anyways, again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Scott Jennings said that they needed to investigate the Trump team. I'm not so sure about that. Actually, you know what? I don't even want to go into that one right now. The one that I want to go into is this. This is the best news that I've heard, and it actually justifies and substantiates exactly what I've been trying to explain to you guys about what the long-term strategy is from the Trump administration, especially with regard to tariffs. All right? So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me share with y'all this information about Hyundai investing $20 billion in an announcement right alongside the Louisiana governor. Check it out. Okay. I got with some good news.
Hey, we have a beautiful announcement to make. It's very exciting. Money is pouring in, and we want to keep it that way. And I think that's what's going to happen. We have tremendous interest in our country, more than ever before. There's never been anything like it. We're almost at a $4 trillion level. And that's something that's never happened. And I think hopefully it's because of the election on November 5th, but it's also because of tariffs, I suspect, Governor. But I'm thrilled to welcome Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, a friend of mine for a long time, and to have you at the White House. And we thought this was going to happen. And I said, if you get it signed up, we'll do it at the White House. And you got it all done. I'm proud of you. Not surprised. Executive Chairman of Hyundai Motor Group, Jung E-sun. Thank you very much. What a great honor. Vice Chairman Jay Chang. Jay, thank you. Hyundai Steel President Soo Gang-hyun. Thank you very much. President, that's big stuff. And former Ambassador Sung Kim. Thank you very much. Great honor to have all of you. Also, and these names are much less difficult for me, but I think we got them right. But this one we will definitely get right. Mike Johnson, our great speaker, and he's been doing a real job. Right, Mike? It's an easy job, isn't it? No, it's easy. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve? Doing all right, Steve.
Shout out to my Dusties in the chat. Now, I just did, and maybe y'all came late, so we're going to go ahead and remix it, and we're going to start over again, and we're going to have this conversation, all right? I had a conversation with y'all in the beginning of the show. I know some of y'all like to stream in here, and you like to whine and complain and call people bootlickers and all of this stuff, and we allow for you to get away with that because we got thick skin and we don't trip about it, and we understand that you are a little dusty, and you really are just lashing out because of what you're experiencing in life, and it's not a reflection of what the rest of the community believes. Why are you mad that they are announcing another company, all of the different companies and all of the trillions of dollars as investments that's basically pouring into the United States because the Trump administration is incentivizing outside companies to come in here and create jobs? Do you know that this type of investment in Louisiana, the people in Louisiana need jobs? What about your brother? What about your sister? What about the people that you may know that look like you, that you may not know, that now can benefit from being able to provide for their family and have a decent paying job down there in Louisiana, because instead of them investing this in Mexico, or instead of them investing this in Canada, or instead of them investing this in India or China or somewhere else where they're manufacturing and then they import it into the United States of America, you now can work, live, play, and buy this product from a foreign investor that is putting money inside of the American economy instead of somewhere else because of tariffs, because of incentives, because of, the tax briefs or the tax breaks that they get as a result of creating jobs inside of America. Why do you see this as a bad thing? Do you hate America so much? Do you hate America so much that you can't even congratulate when we actually get jobs inside of the United States of America? You that evil? You that angry? Are you handicapped? Can you not do the job yourself? And so because you can't do the job, maybe some people is going to move to Louisiana. Maybe some people move down there for a job. Maybe somebody can change the trajectory of his family's life. Maybe a guy can get a job and then become a productive member of society. Maybe somebody can get out of jail or prison, or maybe somebody leaves and goes straight from high school into the plant and they can start to really build a life for themselves and a life for their family. Maybe somebody has an opportunity, and because they'll no longer have to be subjected to poverty, they can go right up the street, get a job, and then it could change their lives. Why would you be mad at that? Why are you being mad because somebody can get a job and somebody is providing investment of $20 billion additional inside of the United States of America? Why y'all so mad at that? And you know what? I'm not even going to reply to people unless they got a real profile picture. I'm not replying to nobody named Let Freedom Ring and they got to sign up on a profile picture. Boy, I know that you dusty. You ain't got no mustache. Your beard don't connect and your mama don't like you. I know that you a bottom. I'm not replying to nothing and nobody that don't have a real profile pic or a real name that we can actually look at and say, you know what, that is a reasonable person. If it's an animated, if it's changed into an emoji, all of that stuff, we not going with it. We don't care if you put a filter on it, but if it turns into a cartoon, if it's a sign, if it's just a letter and all of that stuff, We don't even believe that you're a real person. We think that you are absolutely positively sassy. We know you sassy. We know that you hiding your identity. Boy, you're not even a real man. Let's continue. I'm not even going to acknowledge people. I've gotten too big to acknowledge people that have newspaper clippings as their profile picture. That's done.
I'll tell you, he went through a lot, and he's stronger than ever. Louisiana Speaker Philip Duvalier. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Senate President Cameron Henry, State Representative Ken Brass, State Senator Eddie Lambert, and Ascension Parish President Clint Cointment.
I said he wanted his dad
Thank you
to
all
take him to
very
the
much.
prom,
Thank
take
you
himself to
very
the
much. Great
prom.
honor.
I agree.
Great to have you with us. Today, we're delighted to report that Hyundai is announcing a major $5.8 billion investment in American manufacturing. In particular, Hyundai will be building a brand new steel plant in Louisiana, which will produce more than 2.7 million metric tons of steel a year.
What? So wait a minute. Remember during campaign season, remember during the Biden administration where the steel industry was worried? Remember when the steel industry was worried and they said, oh man, the steel industry is going to fold. We're not going to ever make steel in the United States of America anymore. And Gary, Indiana is going down and Pittsburgh is going to continue to go down and all of these different cities is going to go down. Wait a minute. So the steel industry is now starting to ramp up and they maxing out capacity in anticipation of companies bringing products here in the United States of America. So now we're going to not only manufacture or assemble products here in the United States, but we're going to get it from its inception all the way to its assembly. And so that's what's requiring all the additional investment inside of America. So I was right. So all of my friends and family that was a part of the steel industry, now y'all jobs are saved, even though you voted for Kamala Harris. And we actually are bolstering Americans' jobs and saving them and investing in the United States of America. Ain't that crazy? So much so that they're building new steel plants here in the United States of America. That's crazy. When the last time we had an announcement of an auto manufacturer building a new steel plant inside of the United States of America? Crazy.
Creating more than 1,400 jobs for American steelworkers, and then there'll be major expansion after that. This will be Hyundai's first ever steel mill in the United States, one of the largest companies in the world, by the way. Supplying steel for its auto parts and auto plants in Alabama and Georgia, which will soon produce more than 1 million American-made cars every single year. The cars are coming into this country at levels never seen before. Get ready. This investment is a clear demonstration that tariffs very strongly work, and I hope other things also, but the tariffs are bringing them in at levels that have not been witnessed. Hyundai will be producing steel in America and making its cars in America, and as a result, they'll not have to pay any tariffs. You know, there are no tariffs if you make your product in America, so it's something that's why so many people are coming. As you know, we have from Taiwan, the biggest chip manufacturer in the world, is coming in with $200 billion, and we have a lot of people coming and plants coming and companies coming that never would have been here, never would have even thought about it. The new steel plant in Louisiana is part of an even larger $21 billion investment Hyundai will be making in the United States over the next couple of years. The company will also be massively increasing its auto manufacturing in Georgia and investing billions of dollars in advanced American technology companies. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the executive chairman to say a few words, and it's a great honor to have Hyundai, a truly great company. Thank you.
So wait a minute, Louisiana, Georgia, of all of these southern states, they are now going to benefit from over another $20 billion that is being invested. That means that y'all got a better tax base, more money going into y'all schools, more money going into y'all pockets, more people being able to circulate the American dollar, and more businesses being taken from other countries and invested here in the United States of America. That's crazy, right? What business works here in America?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak here today, and thank you for the invitation. And congratulations on the remarkable start to your new term.
It's been good.
All right.
It's been a great one.
So Hyundai Motor entered the U.S. 1986. Since then, we have invested over $20 billion and now support more than 570,000 American jobs across all 50 states. Today, I'm pleased to announce an additional $21 billion in a new investment over the next 4 years, our largest U.S. invest ever. A key part of this commitment is our $6 billion investment to strengthen the U.S. supply chain from steel and parts to automobiles. We are especially excited about Hyundai Steel's multi-billion investment in a new facility in Louisiana, which will create 1,300 American jobs and severe
that migrants don't even have access to, that illegal migrants in this country will not get and take priority. Nope, they're not hiring illegal migrants. They're hiring United States of American citizens, young people. They are going to spin up this factory. They're going to give y'all training. But see, let me also tell y'all what happens when they spin up new steel manufacturers. You know what also happens? They also pay for and incentivize you to go to school to become millwrights, to become plumbers, electricians. You then become crane operators. You get new skill sets. They pay for you to go to school. If you usually, why? Because I worked in a steel mill, so I know how it works. If you usually work in a place like this, what happens is you can transfer over from the floor to supervisor. Sometimes you can go into skilled trades. You get you a skill for life. Then you're able to not only leverage that skill set that you learned and that you paid for on their dime, you can use that skill set outside of there to make you an additional bag. And then you can really become a bag chaser and you can change the dynamics of your family's life. It's so much that goes into it. So many new restaurants, so many other small businesses, right? So much more trade and commerce that's moving inside and outside of the United States of America. Even though they're directly creating 1,300 jobs, I can tell you it's probably at least 5,000 to 6,000 that's going to be impacted by it. Easy. And the cities, and the schools, and the tax base. And the suppliers. I'm telling you, bro. But see, y'all so evil and ugly that you don't see the opportunity and you gonna whine about it because we so coddled and weak and you just want to play GTA and I can't wait to GTA 6. Every comment that you put on somebody's panel, yeah, man, Bronny James scored 37 before GTA 6 came out. Luka and Anthony Davis came back from injury before GTA 6 came out. Oh, man, Kevin Durant going to get traded before GTA 6 come out. Grow up. Grow up and get a job. Get a skill.
As the foundation for a more self-reliant and secure automotive supply chain in the U.S. To mark this milestone, we are honored to visit President Trump alongside Governor Landry and Speaker Johnson and Leader Scalise, deepening our partnership with the United States and reinforcing our shared vision for American industrial leadership. And this week, we are also proud to open our new $8 billion auto plant in Georgia. With this, our U.S. vehicle production will exceed 1 million units per year, as President mentioned. Our decision to invest in Savannah, Georgia, creating more than 8,500 American jobs, was initiated during my meeting with President Trump in Seoul in 2019. And after that, 2020 in Davos, I mentioned about the new plant. So American jobs was...
So much for somebody in the chat saying, oh, no, this was Biden's doing. No, Trump is a businessman, and Trump made sure that he built the relationships with the people. And this is going all the way back to the things that he was doing back in his first term. And now he was able to leverage his relationships to also make sure that people continue to invest in the United States of America. He ain't mentioned nothing about nobody except for Trump. He said, listen, man, this is back when we was talking in 18, 19, and in 20 and stuff like that. Glad that you're back. Glad that you're doing great things in such a short amount of time. Let us go ahead and invest this $21 billion as a result of you.
Initiated during at the time. Now, as we proudly mark the completion of this transformative project coincides with the beginning of President Trump's second term, making this moment even more special.
Let me give a round of applause for the Trump administration running it up. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to come back to y'all, and we're going to get into this last part of the show because I want to talk about you losing your job. It's a guy that said that he lost his job, and I definitely want to get to that. Majestic James says, Time Dog, I just got my tax return. Should I pay off debt in one fell swoop or overtime to increase my credit score? I need a coaching call. Pay off your debt. But don't pay off your debt to increase your credit score. Pay off your debt. Pay off your debt so that you don't have to continue to pay interest on monies that you borrowed. Pay off the debt. Pay off the debt 100%. Pay off the debt, Majestic James. Victor Williams says, them tariffs is working beautifully, ain't they? And we ain't even really hit them yet. We just give them the threat of tariffs. They got that Anthony Hamilton beard? Absolutely. All right, let me pivot to the last part of the show. I only want to spend about 10, 15 minutes on this one. All right, this one came across my algorithm, and I wanted to share it with y'all. Man says he got fired from his job. This is what he had to say. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. His name, as a recording of this video, is Milton Kraft. I like it when people use their real names. Milton Kraft, he has 1.1 thousand subscribers. As of the recording of this video, this is what he had to say about getting fired from his job.
Hey everyone, I got fired. I got fired November 22nd, 2024, just a few days before Thanksgiving. I thought that was very heartless. But you know, people do what they want to do when they own the company. So at 56 years old, I've been working for the company for about a year and a half. I was the program manager, outreach program manager. No, work-life program manager. So I had two direct staff reports. And I've been there, like I said, a year and a half. So one day, well, November 22nd, I got called into the conference room. The executive director, CEO called me. I figured, okay, he just wants to talk about something. Got there, HR was in there. So I'm like, well, maybe they want to share something. This joker sits me down at the table and he says, this is not working out, give me your keys. I was startled. I'm like, what the world is he saying? I said, what? This is not working out, give me keys. I said, okay, you can have them. I took my keys out and gave it to him. Well, you don't have anything to say? What do you want me to say? You called me into this meeting and told me this is not working out, give me your keys. Well, you don't even want to know why? Evidently, you got a reason why, and whatever it is, I guess it's going to overrule whatever I say, so really, I really don't have anything to say. You sure? Man, I'm 100% positive. What else we need to do? He said, that's it. I said, well, let me go get my stuff. Went and packed up my stuff and got the H on up out of there. Because it's like, you know, you made a decision saying that this is not working out. You had to say anything previous in a few months. Anything like that, saying what's going wrong, anything like that, just, hey, it's not working out. What am I supposed to say to that? I'm not going to beg you for a job. I mean, you the CEO, it's your job. I'm just an employee. But you're not going to have me beg for something that is yours. So, but I just really want to talk about that real quick about a couple of things that I've learned in these 30 plus years of working. One is leadership. Bad leadership reflects the whole organization. When you have bad leadership, people who don't know how to control their emotions, people who are very sensitive, people who are easily triggered, people who want to micromanage or dictate everything that's done, people who question every decision that's being made, even when they hired you to make these decisions, that is a toxic situation. That is poor leadership. That is a recipe for disaster. And that's what I worked with for a year and a half. A boss who was very insecure, wasn't confident, wasn't strong, did not know how to deal with any type of conflict. So if anything happened and you went and chatted with him, he'd be like, oh, don't cause any problems. But that's why things never get solved, because you never answer the doggone problems that you're presented with.
I agree with them largely, but then at the same time, I disagree with them, right? And the reason that is because you always want to get feedback. You always want to get feedback regardless, so that you can understand exactly if it was you and you need to make some adjustments before you go into the next situation and position, or if you just collateral damage from the job itself, okay? And the reason that is for 4 different reasons. Number 1, it could just be organizational changes, has nothing to do with you. The company ain't profitable. They trying to figure out how to cut costs. You just collateral damage. Number 2, it could be because your direct supervisor, and a lot of times we don't know this. We think that it's our fault. We think that it's our problem. And so what'll happen is you're talking about, well, it's poor leadership directly above me, poor leadership directly above me. But you don't have any visibility into what's going on between him and his direct reports and the managers and a lot of that stuff. A lot of times when you get into these corporate environments, it don't even have nothing to do with your direct report. They just trying to save their job. You become collateral damage as a result of it. The third thing is it could literally just be upper management that are making decisions that's affecting y'all, and it could be affecting your supervisor and you. Or the fourth thing is that it could absolutely positively be you, but you need to know this because you can take your bad habits into the next position and get the same thing. So regardless of how you feel, you always have to maintain a positive attitude and trying to get the understanding regardless of how I feel about the person that fired me. Now, if you're just going to go and retire or something like that, then it don't matter. Whatever, it don't really, I ain't really tripping about it. But the fact that he's not down on his laurels, so I'm going to say something positive and I'm going to address the negative. I address the negative. The positive is that the fact that he's not down on his laurels, he understands who he is. And let me tell you something. This man said that he's been in the workforce for over 30 years, which means that he's probably at least 50 years old, I'm assuming, right? He's probably at least in his upper 40s, is 50 years old. And so what he's saying is, listen, I'm used to this. This is the norm. I'm not tripping about it. I'm going to bounce back. And so you got to have a positive attitude, but you still want to make sure that you get the feedback regardless. I want to know what you have to say. What you have to say could ultimately result in me having a lawsuit against the company if the company indiscriminately fired me because they did something wrong and I'm basically getting blamed for it. But you telling me this feedback then allows for me to be able to make adjustments. Always get feedback. Listen, y'all, take your emotions out of it. Get your emotions out of business. Business is business, and you have to take your emotions out of it. He said he 56, 52, 56. Okay. Take your emotions out of it and always look at everything from a business perspective. Never react emotionally. It could be an emotional situation. I like the fact that it seems like he's stoic. I like the fact that it seems like, he's on top of things and he's not going to be emotionally affected as a result of it. But always get feedback. Always get feedback. All right?
So leadership, bad leadership can destroy an organization. Bad leadership can destroy a good organization. So that's why you have to be very careful as an employee. Don't let poor leadership get you caught up. Don't let it change you from being the good person you are. It's not reflective of you. It's just a reflection of the leadership in the organization. So yeah, just be mindful that poor leadership can just destroy an organization. It can cause rifts and tension between employees. Poor leadership can cause employees to pit against each other. They can talk to this employee, tell them one thing, say something else to this employee, and before you know it, the employees are wondering what's going on. Why are we not able to work together? Why are we clashing with each other so much? It's because of poor leadership. Remember that, poor leadership. And the second thing is, ask yourself the question, why do you go to work? It's a question we always ask ourselves. Well, I go to work and I make money. I want to get my check and go home and have a good relationship with the coworkers. Is that what you really go to work for? Ask yourself a true question. Why do I go to work? And most of us will say it's to earn a paycheck, to meet my needs, and take care of my family. That is fine. I have no problem with that. That's why I go to work. But remember, you go to work for what? 6, 7, 8 hours a day? You're with people you know, you don't know, you've known for years. They become friends or colleagues or whatever you want to call them. But the question that you need to ask yourself is, what are these people to me? How do they fit into my life? Are they family? Are they just friends? Or just people I see every day passing through work? I'm going to tell you a secret. Your coworkers are not your friends. I'll say it again. Your coworkers are not your friends. They're just that, coworkers. People you work with every day for 8 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours, and then you go home and you don't see them again until the next day.
I am there to make money and feed my family. I am there to get paid. A lot of y'all are so caught up in the politics of work and who doing what and whether or not you like your boss or not or this and that. You are there to get this bag and go home, because guess what? If you get laid off tomorrow, you're never probably going to talk to those people ever again. If you get laid off tomorrow, you're probably never, unless you're looking for a reference, unless they're pulling you into another position, unless they have the ability to be able to pull you into another position. I am not looking for anything other than my paycheck. I am there to be happy. I'm there to do my job. I'm there to take care of business. I am not here to take you out after the job. Y'all be getting caught up in relationships at work. I know what the warehouse and a plant is notorious for having relationships and all of this different stuff and this pettiness. A lot of y'all jobs is like high school. A lot of y'all jobs is like high school. It's a whole thing in there. Y'all be squabbling after work and fighting and getting in touch with this chick and, oh my God, I can't believe that he talking to her and all of this stuff. Man, you there to do your job and go home. Do your job, lead a job at the job, and go home. Stop getting caught up in the mess that's going on at the job, family.
And when you learn that's what it really is, just coworkers and not your friends, not your family, not somebody
call centers, yep. Call centers
you
as
will
well.
enjoy work a whole lot better. You won't get caught up in no bull crap. You won't get caught up in he say, she say. You won't get caught up in managers pitting you against each other, because you're there to do your job and you're going home. Now, I'm not saying go in to be mean and hostile and all that. No. Do your job, take your tail home.
He's spitting right now.
And learn that there are only a few things that are good about going to work. Taking a break, getting your check, and going home. Put that at the top of your list as career goals.
Talk to him, OG.
Take your break, go to lunch, get your check,
go home. Facts.
That's it. Once you learn that, you'll be much happier.
I'm here to do a job. I'm not
and
here
the final
to
thing
friends.
I like to say about, since I got fired, you have to realize, what are you going to do next? Sometimes that can be hard because you're emotionally upset in the moment. You're upset. Yeah, you got fired. Hell, you lost your check. You won't get a check. For me, it was real hard because I'm a type 2 diabetic. So when I lost my check the week after, my insurance was cut off. So I couldn't afford my meds. And my meds were $35 with insurance. How much you think they are without insurance? $1,200. So I'm like, I gotta make a choice. I gotta make a health choice. I gotta change my lifestyle again and figure out how to do something that will keep me healthy until something else comes along. So there's a lot that's involved when you get fired. I mean, you lose.
That's rough.
You lose a little confidence. You question yourself, thinking, what did I do? You wonder, am I a bad person? And to tell you the truth, none of that is true.
Time to get healthy. Time to put down the spoon and pick up the fork. Time to let go of all of the dressing that we put on top of our salad that basically drown it because we think it ain't got no flavor. Time to eat leaves. Time to eat like a squirrel. Got to start eating like a squirrel, OG. Better go to Walmart. Get that whatever it is that they got at Walmart. They got that whatever that regular, whatever the insulin shot is at Walmart. Better go get that. Change your lifestyle. Get that weight up off of you. Get your A1C down, OG.
Anything. People make decisions that you have no control over, and there's nothing you can do about them. But you have to figure out what are you going to do next. My advice to you is figure out what you're good at. Figure out what you like to do. Figure out what makes you happy. And put your interest and focus on that. Stop trying to make somebody else rich. Go out and make yourself happy. You can be happy. You don't got to be wealthy, but you can be happy doing what you love, enjoying life, doing wonderful things. You don't always have to look for $1 million paycheck. Do what you like. Be passionate about it. Set your own goals.
Nah, I'm going to have to disagree with OG on that one. There's some things I agree with him with, and there's other things that I disagree with him with. The first thing that I think that you should do is go and hurry up and find another job. Adjust that resume. Get your LinkedIn set up. Make sure that you get with a resume editor and writer. Go on and make sure that you network. Clean up your social media. Get out there and get your hair cut. Go and get another job. First things first. And I don't know if I'm the only one. I might be a little bit off on this. Y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the check. The first thing that you do is you go and find another source of income while you going to get another job at the same time. Time to hustle. Ain't no time to be sitting there talking about what makes me happy. Nope. I'm going to work on my business after I work on getting to this money. And we can nurture the business. You should have been nurturing the business the whole time that you was at work. Ain't no time to sit here and talk about happiness, because ain't nobody going to be happy if I ain't got no check coming in. Go get that money. Go get that money.
Make plans for yourself. Invest in something different. Get your education. Work on your health. Figure out what it is that you really want to do. At 56, I have no desire to go back into anybody else's workplace. 35 years, I've done it. I'm tired. Bad leadership, no loyalty, no respect. I can't do it no more. I mean, I'm just done with it. So they can have that. One of the best things that happened to me was getting fired November 22nd, 2024. It didn't seem like that at the moment, but it does now. I have no problem with it. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. Life is good. I made plans on what I'm going to do going forward. There are things I'm going to just put myself out to do, things I've always wanted to do. And I suggest you do the same thing. Don't let it depress you. Don't let it send you into a spiral downfall. Yeah, take a couple days. I'm going to be honest. Take a couple days.
Y'all acting like 56 is 86. What are y'all talking about? 56 is not the end of the road. What y'all talking about? Man, at 42 today, I'm just getting started. Honestly, and you're going to see in the vlog today, I talked about it. Honestly, I was thinking to myself, and I had a pep talk with myself yesterday after I seen some stuff that inspired me. I said, oh, it's time to run it up. It's time to run it up. The next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I'm going 0 dark 30 on everything. I'm increasing production, increasing output, dedicating myself to it. I feel like, I am feeling inspired. I'm just now getting started. Got to make sure that I'm in the gym every day so that I can meet the expectations that I have for myself. It's time to get rolling. It's time to get going. It's time to get rolling. It's time to run it up. I'm not about to slow down. I'm about to turn it up. 56 is not, man, look, bro. Time to go. Time to go. I plan on working for the rest of my life. I plan on working for the rest of I want to be productive. I want to be out here. I want to be having fun. I want to be running it up. I want to increase the value of what it is that my time is worth. I want to be, man, it's time to go. Man, the minute that you start getting relaxed and content, I see people die after that. The minute that I see people get relaxed and content, they die. And that's just my own personal experience.
Cuss, fuss, whatever you need to do, weep, moan, whatever. Get it out. You got to do that. You're humans. You got emotions. You got feelings. And you're going to feel some kind of way once you get fired. So get it out. Hell, cuss them out. Put the finger up, whatever.
You're right.
Write a note
You're
and then
right.
don't send it.
Trump is out here just working. Trump trying to figure out how to get a third term. Trump is trying to figure out how to get a third term. You think I'm about to sit around and do nothing? Trump is what, 83? Running it up? Man, I'm about to be out here getting it, bro.
Whatever you need to do, to get it out of your system, because the longer you hold it, the longer it's going to take you to get started.
Warren Buffett is almost 100, running
get that
it up.
done, get that out of the way. So, but after you do that, after you have those days of wallowing and getting all that out of your system, it's time to move forward. You ain't got time to sit there and wallow and all that. You got a life to live. You got things to do. You got people you want to see. You got places you want to go. Make it happen. Put yourself out there and do the things that you want to do.
Okay,
Set a goal.
I like
create
that.
a plan. Put a project in place. Go study under somebody. Do whatever it is to help you to become the person you want to be. But I didn't come here to lecture, but I just wanted to share that. I got fired.
Bernie was 83. Trump is 78. I got you.
Got fired.
Thank you for the correction.
My life is just beginning. It is not
I
over.
like his
it's far from over. I'm going to do great things. I'm going to continue to go and build and just become an overall better person. So when you go in the workplace, remember these things. Leadership. Some leadership is toxic. Very toxic. So be very careful when you.
I like OG, honestly. I like OG. I like everything that he got to say. Again, make sure y'all go and check out his channel. It's Milton Craft. His name of his channel is Milton Craft. If y'all want to go and check it out. He got the right attitude and the right disposition. I hope that he's successful. I hope that he does really, really well. And I hope he finds what he's looking for from a health perspective, solving for that, because you can absolutely solve for what he said his ailment is. You can find peace. You can find tranquility. You can also be productive, and you can be happy all at the same time. So shout out to OG. Shout out to OG. I think that he's got the right sentiment. I think he got a right mindset, and I think he's going to be fine. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'll get y'all up out of here for the day. Billanico says, might have to expand operations in the South and keep spreading the good word, AD. Yo, I'm thinking about doing coaching calls. Maybe starting back off again at 1 day a week. 1 day a week. Yeah, I think that I'm going to figure that out. So I'm going to let y'all know over the next few days of what I got going on with that. Let's see. What else do we got going on? MP says, you're muted. Thank y'all for letting me know that I was muted. I appreciate y'all. But Victor Williams says, I find it weird that people have been in some positions for decades, and when they leave, leadership is the problem. Well, you had a couple decades. You had decades to get into that leadership position and make the change. I agree with you. OG got to put the donuts down. Facts. The work rules I have: be on time, work safety, make sure they pay you correctly, and anything else is not important. Thank you, AD. I like that. I think that's dope. Manuel AG says, those coworkers, so-called friends, will cross you when a promotion comes around. Yeah, we still capitalistic in our mindset and what we got going on. Chad for More says, about to be laid off, and I'm strongly considering going to trade school for an electrician to get some years and certifications in, then start my own. I think that that's a good idea. And I think that y'all need to stop waiting until y'all get laid off before you pivot and put yourself in a position. The one thing that I made up in my mind in 07, 08, when everything hit and the pandemic hit and I lost my job and all of that, was that I was never, ever going to be waiting or at the mercy of another corporation or another entity ever again in my life. I made up in my mind that I was never, ever going to be waiting or at the mercy of somebody else or another corporation in my life. That if anything was to ever happen, it was going to be on my terms and not on somebody else's terms. Y'all need to work on your businesses, work on your image, work on your communication skills, get your reps as far as school under your belt. Do the things that you are supposed to be doing or planning for the future that you want while you're at the job that you're at. And even if you at a job that you like, that does not mean that you should remain stagnant at all. Always be working, always preparing yourself, always put yourself in a better position. You have much more leverage when you leave, when you decide to leave on your terms, than if they was to let you go. Remember that. All right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. You guys are the greatest audience of all time. And we got after hours tonight. I'm going to see y'all tonight. God bless y'all. Peace.